comes to mind when you talk about birth control? Your mind probably goes to pills for women. Have you heard about male contraception? Would you take up any? This is our focus today on sound health on Lagos Television. Good evening, I am Olasunbo Modupe. Thanks for always staying with us. The conversation begins after this short break. Please stay tuned. It's still Sound Health on Lagos Television. Joining us via Zoom this evening is Dr. Ufuoma Festus Omo-Obi, Country Representative, Options Consultancy Services UK Limited. Good evening, Dr. Omo-Obi, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Modupe. It's very exciting to join your station today.
All right, Dr. Omo-Obi, why contraceptions? Why would you consider contraception now?
There is every reason to consider contraception for a variety of reasons. One of the first reasons is the power of choice for women, and girls. The way we are constructed as human beings. For the female gender, they are predisposed, I would say, when they have sex to getting pregnant. And the question is that, do you want to get pregnant and have children every year? And the question is that maybe not every lady wants to have children until they get to menopause. And so there's a need for that choice and that option for women to consider contraceptives, and men as well, because men are partners. I would say men are the culprits to get women pregnant. So there's every reason to consider contraception because it gives women the power of choice to have children when they want it, as it were. The other thing is that for the government and for the people of the land, investing in contraception gives what we call demographic dividend. What that means is it gives the opportunity to have a productive population. You see, when you have majority of your population being dependent, you don't get the value out of your population. So if I have 10 children, you have 10 children, somebody has 10 children, everybody will be struggling to feed that dependent population. And that's what we call dependency ratio of a population. But the lesser the number of people you have to feed, for example, the lesser the amount of resources you have to put to various aspects of your life, like maybe your housing projects, the quality of your life, what you give to your kids in terms of quality education. You can't compare a man who has 8 children and a man who has 2 children in terms of what they give to their children in terms of the quality of life. So, that human capital, you see that we have better productive societies. Then overall is that the government has more resources to put on various aspects of the economy. When you have a government that is investing on education, for example, in Nigeria, we have the issue of Almajiri in the north, we have a lot of out of school problems in the south, you have a lot of, government cannot meet all these needs. But when people have deliberate agenda to plan their number of children they have, then we'll have quality outcomes for life, the government will have more resources to invest, and our GDP practically will grow. So there's a lot of economic value, personal value, human capital value, and that's why there's the need to invest in contraception.
All right. In your response, I got some points. You said girls and women have the option to decide what they want to do about contraception. Are women actually in charge of options, or are they responsible for child spacing options?
Well, the question is a very big one. In an ideal world, women should have the power of choice. I kept using the word choice. Women should determine how they should have body autonomy. They should decide when they want children. But we have a very patrilineal, patriarchal society where values are shaped by prevalent male, kind of dominance, and men want to have a decision over their partner's life and their choices. In fact, society in some instances is so structured. Religions sometimes have played a role where they say women should not have a contraceptive or have access to contraceptive because it doesn't help their faith. Then there's a lot of things around myths and misconceptions that just messes up everything. So if you ask me, I'll say that often there's that gender aspect where women do not really have all the power of choice, in our societies, and that's what we need to be doing. We need to be giving that power of choice. Men need to be part of the decisions and give power of choice of contraceptive to women who have need for it.
All right, what are the options available? We all know women are much more prone to get contraceptives out there. What are the other options available apart from condoms now for men?
Other options that are available for men is the one that's readily available right now is vasectomy. Vasectomy has proven to be very effective, a male contraceptive option that is available. There are other studies that have been going on recently around access, for example, to contraceptives, oral contraceptives for men, but not really widely available, that will provide dual protection like prevention of STI and HIVs, as well as, male sterility. But the option that is available for men, besides condoms these days, is vasectomy, which is like tying the tubes so that men are not able to release, sterile, sperm cells to fertilize eggs when they have sexual intercourse. In simple words, I will say juices without seed. It's available.
Okay, as a man now, would you consider male contraception?
I would happily do, because my last child is 3 years old. I'm in a situation where I will make that choice. I'm satisfied and happy with the number of children I have at the moment, and so I will consider male contraception, and I will consider that because of a lot of the information and education I have, around this subject. Often men are really worried. There are a lot of societal stereotypes. But if you look at different markets, like if you go to some countries in East Africa, in Asia, it's very popular for men to have access to vasectomy. In the UK, in different parts of the world, having a child is a big agenda, and you don't want to have accidental discharge. In the generation before our generation, fortunately or interestingly, we have a lot of people who are accidental discharges, and that is the power of choice that we are giving to men, that men should be able to have access to contraception and vasectomy.
Okay, does that include vasectomy? Because I'm glad you said you are open to male contraception. Does that include vasectomy?
Absolutely. I am open to having access to, at the point, doing the vasectomy. Personally, okay. That's my personal choice.
All right, let's look at myths and misconception now quickly. What are some of the weirdest thoughts you've heard about contraceptives, and how would you address that as an advocate?
So there are a lot of myths and misconceptions around vasectomy for the female gender. There's this whole story around the thing around, for example, cancers, all types of cancers, ovarian cancer. They say a lot of things. But what I normally would tell people is that, WHO, who is the custodian of some of these procedures in terms of setting the standards, and the government of your country and states, they go through a rigorous process. Any contraceptive you see out in the market today is
certified.
It's certified and it is safe for you. What I think people miss out is wanting to be like their peers and their friends. Oh, my friend is on pills, so I want to be on pills. Everybody, and this is why we say go to a qualified provider when you make this choice for contraceptions, because a qualified provider will use what we call the WHO eligibility wheel, which will take a lot of considerations into your history, your body mass, a lot of factors, and your personal narrative and choice and preferences to determine your option for contraceptive. So just look at what is good for you. This means, oh, you will bleed, you will become dry like a stick, or you will add weight. Yes, there are different types of contraceptives, and the thing is that what you know doesn't harm you. So information and knowledge, they say, is key and is power. So that's what I would say for the female contraceptive. For the male contraceptives, people have their stereotypes. I won't want to talk about the condoms, but men, for vasectomy, for example, we'll talk about the fact that, oh, they'll become eunuchs, they can't, people want to have children. What if things happen and I need to have children again later? The thing is that you make a choice, some of these procedures are not reversible, and it doesn't affect your agility as a man, your brain faculty or your thinking capacity, your ability to engage with people, or your ability to do work. It's not removing your testicles, so you're not going to grow out of proportion and become a giant. It's just tying the tubes, and that's the procedure, or cutting them in some instances, and you cannot, fertilize the woman. So all of those means and misconceptions, you have how do you call it now? So a bit of cancers down there. No, it doesn't work like that. So all these are myths and misconceptions. Speaking with the providers will clarify your questions, will clear your doubts, and these procedures are all safe. If they're not safe, they won't be out there.
All right, Dr. Omo-Obi, your call to action as we wrap up this segment now.
My call to action is, for example, is men, it is safe for your partners to be and to have access to contraception. And also, the bigger message is that it is safe as a man for you to have access to contraception. If you are listening to my voice, you consider you have access to as a man right now in Lagos State or in Nigeria, you can have vasectomy, you can have access to condoms, as the case may be. So if you know that you are done with the number of children you want to have, and you know that you do not want to continue or procreation or having that kids, it doesn't stop your performance in bed. That's that thing. If I do vasectomy, my performance will stop. No, you can still perform really solidly. So go out there, ask your provider for access to contraceptive. There are a lot of organizations who are doing that work in Lagos. If you go to some government hospitals, some MOHs, there's those centers there, they will refer you, they don't have it. There are private providers like Mary Stopes, the DKTs, programs supported by Johns Hopkins University. They're all there, the teaching hospitals. This service is available. Speak to a provider, men, if you're listening to me, and go have access to vasectomy. Don't produce an accidental discharge. One of the things that people talk about really these days is, school fees is a very humbling decider for men. So have children by choice. That power is not for only women alone. You can have also as power as a male to have children by choice, not chance. Thank you very much.
All right, speak to a provider. Male contraception is accessible and affordable. Dr. Ufuoma Festus Omo-Obi, Country Representative, Options Consultancy Services UK Limited. Thank you so much for your time and expertise on sound health. We really appreciate you.
Thank you very much. I do have a lovely rest of the day.
All right, bye-bye. And you too. This is where we say thank you on this segment. We now take a look at trending health report from around the world. Please stay tuned. still Sound Health on Lagos Television. More to come in a moment. Well, this is where we say thank you on today's episode of Sound Health. Remember, you need to know your options to make the healthy and smartest choice out there for you and your family. Contraceptives are safe and harmless. Join me again next week for another edition. For comments and inquiries, please send SMS to 0035826603 or follow us on social media at LTV Social #Sound Health. A sound health is a sound mind. Make healthy living your choice.